You don't decide to brush your teeth in the morning. You just do it. But almost every person who has tried to build a workout habit, a reading habit, a habit of eating better, has stood in front of that decision every single day. Should I do this now, or later, or tomorrow? That difference is the whole story, not motivation, not discipline. The habits that last are the ones that stopped requiring a decision. The ones that fail are the ones still asking you to choose, every day, forever. Most advice about habits focuses on repetition. Do it enough times, and it becomes automatic. There's a popular number attached to this, 21 days, sometimes 66. The number itself was based on a small study that found a wide range. Some behaviors took 18 days, others took over 250. The range is wide because repetition count was never really the mechanism. What mattered was something happening underneath the repetition, whether the action was gradually moving from something you chose to do into something you no longer had to choose. Think about what actually happens the 10th time you do something compared to the first. The first time, you have to notice the moment, remember your intention, overcome whatever you'd rather be doing instead, and then act. That's 4 separate mental steps for one behavior. By the 10th time, if it's working, some of those steps have started to disappear. You notice the moment automatically. You don't have to remember your intention because the moment itself reminds you. The habit isn't stronger because you've proven your willpower 10 times. It's stronger because there are fewer decisions left to make. This is why so many habits that start strong collapse within a few weeks. And it's rarely because the person ran out of willpower. It's because the habit never made it out of the deciding phase. Every day still felt like a choice. And a choice you have to make every day is a choice you will eventually not make. Here's where it gets specific, because this is the part most explanations skip. What actually moves a behavior from decision to default isn't just doing it repeatedly in general. It's doing it in the same context repeatedly. The same time, the same place, right after the same earlier action. Your brain doesn't file habits under things I do. It files them under things I do when this specific situation happens. The habit isn't attached to you. It's attached to a scene. That's why someone can have a rock-solid habit of working out every day for a year, then move to a new apartment and lose it within 2 weeks, even though nothing about their motivation changed, and nothing about their schedule changed either. The gym was 2 blocks from the old place. The route home past it. The locker room smell, the parking spot, the exact chair they sat in to put their shoes on. All of that was part of the cue, not just the goal of being fit. Remove the scene, and the behavior goes back to being a decision again. And a decision, made every day, under different conditions than the one that built it, is exhausting in a way the original habit never was. This also explains something that looks like a contradiction. People often say they lose a habit when life gets busy, as if busyness is the enemy. But plenty of busy weeks don't break a habit, and plenty of relaxed weeks do. What predicts the break isn't how busy someone is. It's whether the usual scene got disrupted. A busy week where you still leave the house at the same time, still pass the same corner, still have the same 15 minutes before the next thing starts, can leave a habit completely intact. A slow, easy week where the schedule shifts even slightly, where the coffee happens in a different room, or the walk happens at a different hour, can quietly dismantle a habit that survived months of a demanding job. There's a second piece to why some habits last and others don't, and it has to do with when the reward shows up. Brushing your teeth gives you a small, immediate signal. Your mouth feels clean right away. Working out for your long-term health gives you almost nothing immediate. The actual outcome, feeling stronger, weighing less, living longer, is months or years away. That means the habit has to survive entirely on repetition and context, because it isn't getting reinforced by its own outcome on a daily basis. This is one of the more overlooked reasons ambitious habits fail, while smaller, less impressive ones survive. A habit like flossing barely changes your life, but it gives a small tactile signal of completion. And it takes under a minute, so the decision barely registers as a decision at all. A habit like an hour of exercise a day is a genuinely bigger decision every time, and the payoff that would make it feel worth it is too far away to notice on any given Tuesday. The habit that lasts isn't always the one that matters most. It's often the one that asks the least of the moment it happens in. People who do manage to keep the bigger habits usually aren't relying on the distant reward either, even if they think they are. They've usually attached something closer to it without realizing. The specific feeling of finishing a workout before anyone else is awake. The short conversation with the same people at the same class. The number on a tracking app ticking up. None of these are the actual goal. They're a substitute signal that shows up daily, standing in for a result that's still months away. There's a third detail that trips people up, and it's about the shape of effort over time, not just whether the habit survives. Most people expect the difficulty of a new habit to decrease smoothly. Hard on day 1, a little easier on day 5, easier still by day 20, in a clean downward line. That's not how it actually goes. Effort stays roughly the same, sometimes for weeks, while automaticity is quietly building in the background. Then at some point, often without a clear moment attached to it, it flips, and the behavior stops feeling like something you're doing, and starts feeling like something that's just happening. The problem is that the flat middle section, where effort isn't dropping yet even though progress is technically being made, is exactly where most people quit. It feels the same as day 1, so it's read as proof that nothing is working, that this is just what the habit will always cost. In reality, that flat stretch is the habit crossing, from decision territory into default territory, and it's invisible from the inside until it's finished. People give up at the exact point where persistence was about to pay off, because the payoff doesn't announce itself in advance. Once a behavior does become a default rather than a decision, something else changes too, and this part comes after the habit is established, not before. The person starts describing themselves differently. Not "I'm trying to exercise," but "I exercise." That shift in self-description matters, but only in this order. It's the byproduct of the behavior no longer requiring a decision, not the cause of it. Trying to install the identity first, telling yourself "I'm a runner" before the behavior has become automatic, doesn't skip the work. The sentence changes before the underlying pattern does, and the gap between them is where a lot of forced enthusiasm quietly runs out. So if the actual mechanism is decisions disappearing rather than willpower increasing, the more useful question isn't "how do I stay motivated?" It's "how many decisions does this habit still require? And can any of them be removed?" Not by trying harder in the moment, but by fixing the moment itself. The same time, the same place, the same thing happening right before it every time, so the behavior gets attached to a scene instead of a feeling. A feeling changes daily. A scene, if you protect it, doesn't have to. None of this makes habits effortless. Early repetitions are still going to cost something, and there's no way around that part. But it changes what you're actually building toward. You're not trying to build a permanent supply of motivation, because that was never going to hold up on its own. You're trying to build a version of the moment where the behavior is the only thing that makes sense to do, so there's nothing left to decide.